So this year, slowly racking up all the viewings of horror films this year. In my previous video, I forgot to mention that I saw The Night Swim. I think that came out actually last year, but I did see it this year, and let's just say I don't remember anything from it. But anyway, moving on to another Blumhouse film, Black Phone 2, the sequel to the 2021-22, whenever it came out for you, original Black Phone starring Ethan Hawke as the grabber. And I must say, watching Black Phone 2, I almost forget that Ethan Hawke is this character. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I still remember Ethan Hawke from Training Day. Jay! That's where I remember him from the most. I don't know why. I've seen other movies that he's been in, but that one, Training Day, is the only one, maybe because it's most memorable because of the scene between him and Denzel. Maybe that's why it's a memorable scene. It's a very quotable scene, mainly because of Denzel. Outstanding acting and performance in that film. So I think Denzel did win an Oscar for that film. Did he? I thought he did win one for Training Day. But anyways, I think that was the most villainous role that Denzel's played next to that role he played in Gladiator 2. But anyways, Black Phone 2 basically picks off a couple years after the original. Now, if you're not familiar with the original, Finney, a teenage boy, was abducted by a serial child grabber known as the Grabber, played by Ethan Hawke. And when Finney encounters a mystical black rotary phone in captivity, he uses it to plot his escape by communicating with the ghosts of the Grabber's slain victims. So that was the second one. First one, actually. So skip forward to the second one. Like I said, a couple years later. I think the first one was in the 70s, late 70s. This one is in the early 80s. Finn is actually now in high school, along with his sister Gwen. And it picks up in October 1982. That's when it picked up, of course. All horror films pick up in October. But I don't know how many people have saw this so far, so I ain't gonna spoil too much of it. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it wasn't. I don't know why, because it's this one thing that I realize about horror films, and especially the new horror villains like the Terrifier or Art the Clown and the Grabber and many others. Yeah, you made up something new. He made up a new horror villain that might become an icon. I think Art the Clown has slowly become an icon horror film. But you always running the risk of, becoming boring, becoming the same old spick in every movie. We have seen this now with Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Scream now with Ghostface and Leatherface. You just have countless movies and movies and movies, and then when the sequels don't work out to the original one, you want to make another sequel, the real sequel to the original one, and that one's even worse than the sequels that came out before it that you tried to replace. Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and even Terminator to a point. But this movie, I just hope that it doesn't become redundant, because they already in talks of making the third one. But in this movie, basically, the Grabber, once again played by Ethan Hawke, is trying to gain his vengeance in a Freddy Krueger type of way. And this one focuses more on the sister Gwen, Finney's sister Gwen. They focus equally on both, but more on the sister Gwen, because she starts having these dreams where she can see the deletions of kids that happen at this place called Alpine Lake Camp in the 50s. In one of the dreams, she receives a call from her mother, Hope, who at the time of the deletions was having similar dreams. Now, it's up to Gwen, Finney, and I guess, what's the name of the kid that they're with? Because his brother was deleted by the grabber in the first one. I think it's this kid, Ernesto. So I guess Ernesto, if you guys remember, if you've seen the first one, his brother Robin was one of the victims of the grabber in the original film, and the same actor plays the brother. I don't know why, but it happens. But it's up to these three and some of the camp attendants to stop and figure out what happened to these kids who were deleted by the grabber many, many years ago. The movie, especially when Gwen is in her dream sequences, first I was trying to figure out what the hell is going on, but I guess she was in her dream sequence, kind of like an analog type of feel to it, which is alright, something new. Outside of that, this film is very dreary because it does take place in Colorado, Denver, and going to the snow, so it's very dreary, very lack of color, sort of say, because everything's just gray or ice blue. It kind of creates this, depressing feeling, which makes sense. But I just can't help that this movie also reminds me in parts of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, with all these dreams and the grabber is in dreams and everything. I guess they got inspiration from that, but I won't go too much into that. But like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I just hope that they are gonna make a sequel. It just avoids becoming redundant, and that you end it after that. You end the series after that. I don't know how they can continue on, but they're talking about making the third one. Hopefully they don't have the same villain, because like I said, that's how you become redundant. We've seen that plenty of time with famous movie horror film icons. And like I said, Ethan Hawke plays a very chilling, even creepier grabber in this version. So there it is. But there was something that I found out about this movie. I don't know if I found this out 2 years ago, I just don't remember. But this movie, not so much this movie, but the original movie, Black Phone, is connected to one of the installments of VHS. And I think that installment of VHS is 1980, VHS 1985. And there's, of course, VHS is in very, I would say, at times well put together anthology series that's been going on since 2012 or 11 now. It's been going on for almost 14, 15 years now. But 2 installments ago, there was a segment that was connected to this movie, because I think it was directed by the same person who directed the original Black Phone sequel. But I had to go back and watch it because I don't remember what it was exactly about. I remember somewhat the segment, but not all the way through. But anyways, another horror film watched this year, Black Phone 2. If you haven't seen it, go check it out if you like the original. Just one more thing. Would I see this movie again? Nah. That's the one thing about horror films, not even just horror films, films in general, in the last 10 to 15 years. A lot of movies don't deserve a second replay. And this is one of them that don't deserve a second replay. But, alright movie. But, I don't need to see it again. And that concludes my review of The Black Phone 2.